answers to your questions in the outside world, whereas all those answers are within you. If you come to my refuge and make my words a part of your life, you will find the purpose of your life. Sumitra was very impressed by these words. She felt that Sadhu Maharaj's words were not only inspiring her but also reawakening the hopes and dreams sleeping inside her. She began to feel more calm and balanced in his teachings and his presence. Gradually, the relationship between Sadhu Maharaj and Sumitra moved beyond spiritual discussions to a more personal level. They no longer discussed only philosophy and matters of the soul, but also talked openly about Sumitra's problems, her fears and dreams. Sumitra felt as if Vibhudev was not only her guide, but had also started understanding those parts of her life which she herself could not understand properly. Their meetings were no longer limited to simple discussions, but a deep bond and emotional aspect also started getting added to them. Sadhu Maharaj's place in Sumitra's life had now become more than that of a guru, and she started feeling her existence meaningful in his presence. Discussions about the growing relationship between Krishnapura and Sumitra started intensifying. Some people considered it a result of Sadhu Maharaj's divinity and the power of his teachings, while others started looking at it with suspicion and criticism. One day, a youth of the village saw Sadhu Maharaj and Sumitra having a deep conversation in a secluded corner of the temple. He was shocked by this scene and immediately told this to other people of the village. The youth exaggerated this incident, due to which this discussion started spreading rapidly among the people. Slowly, this news spread like fire in the whole village. Where some people were considering this relationship of Sadhu Maharaj and Sumitra as sacred, many people started seeing it in a wrong way. These discussions disturbed the atmosphere of the village. Seeing this situation, the elders of the village understood the seriousness of the matter and decided that a Panchayat should be called to resolve it. The purpose of the Panchayat was to listen to both the parties and decide whether whatever is happening is right or not. All the prominent people of the village gathered for the Panchayat. Both Sadhu Maharaj and Sumitra were called so that they could give their clarification on their relationship and the growing discussions. The people of the village became restless, and they were eagerly waiting for this Panchayat, because this matter was no longer limited to Sadhu and Sumitra, but had also become connected to the collective faith and traditions of the village. When Sumitra was questioned in front of the Panchayat, she could not hide herself and the pain in her heart. Her heart was heavy and there were tears in her eyes. She accepted in a weak voice that she had been trapped in the words of Sadhu Maharaj. She also said that the teachings of Sadhu Maharaj and his words had made her experience inner peace, but gradually she deviated from her path. Sumitra said, "I thought that I would be able to understand my life by going into the depths of the soul, but now I feel that I put my faith in the wrong direction." There was regret in her voice, and it was clear that she was also angry with herself that she got trapped in these false illusions. Sadhu Maharaj replied to her, but his tone was calm and serious. He said, calling himself innocent, "I only tried to give spiritual knowledge to Sumitra. I never tried to show her the wrong path." He also said that his teachings were only towards self-realization and inner peace, and he never intended to involve anyone in his personal relations. Sumitra emerged as a person who recognized her inner strength and rose above the sorrows of her life, and took steps towards improving the lives of others. She had now become a role model for the women of the village. Sumitra had turned her troubles and struggles into her strength, and her story had now become an example of inspiration in every corner of the village. The villagers looked at her with respect and honor, because she had shown that with confidence, hard work and steps in the right direction, any difficulty can be overcome. The elders of the village did not believe in him, but there was something in his words which did not satisfy the people of the village. There was a lot of concern and differences in the village about this matter. Some people blamed Sadhu Maharaj because the spiritual teachings given by him had a deep impact on Sumitra, and she started feeling more connected in his presence. They believed that Sadhu Maharaj misused his powers. Some people blamed Sumitra because she had deeply accepted the words of Sadhu Maharaj in her life without understanding them. After a long discussion, the village elders and other Panchayat members came to the conclusion that the best solution to this matter would be to order Sadhu Maharaj to leave the village. The Panchayat said that it is not right that the peaceful and normal life of the village should be disrupted by such disagreements and confusion. Sadhu Maharaj was ordered to leave the village. Sumitra was also hurt by this decision, but had to respect the decision of the Panchayat. Sumitra accepted her mistake, but the question that arose in her mind was whether she was really on the right path and how she should change the direction of her life now. After Sadhu Maharaj left the village, Sumitra's introspection process became deeper. She promised herself that she would try to learn from her mistakes and turn her life in the right direction. There was no emptiness in her eyes like before, but there was a feeling of new understanding and inner strength. She realized that she can face her sorrows and confusions alone, and her happiness and peace cannot depend on anyone else. Sumitra decided to make herself self-dependent and strong. She took the initiative to educate the women of the village and make them self-dependent. She knew that women's empowerment will not only bring changes in their personal lives, but will also become the reason for positive change for the entire society. Sumitra understood the importance of women's education, and she started teaching women. Slowly, the women of the village started joining her, and Sumitra started showing them a new path of life with confidence, knowledge, and understanding. She had understood that the real power lies in recognizing the power within oneself, beyond external attraction and the opinions of others. Earlier, she had lost her way under the influence of the words and beliefs of others, but now she had recognized the power she had learned from her experiences and which came from within herself. Sumitra understood that there can be no greater power than self-realization and self-confidence, and when a person recognizes the truth within himself, the direction of his life automatically changes. The incident that happened between Krishnapura and Sumitra deeply affected the villagers. This incident gave them an opportunity to understand that blind faith is the biggest reason for the destruction of the society. There is a fine line between faith and belief, which is very important to recognize and understand. The villagers started realizing that sometimes it can be difficult to maintain a balance in their faith and belief, and it is important not to accept any faith or person without proper understanding and thinking. This incident also taught them that accepting any religious or spiritual guide without the right perspective and losing oneself under the influence of their words can sometimes lead one in the wrong direction. Now Krishnapura will think more so that justice and wisdom can be used in any situation. Sumitra's journey also became an important part of this change. Earlier, she was just a widow who had to face loneliness while struggling with her sorrowful circumstances and the complexities of life. But after this incident, Sumitra not only got a deep understanding of her soul, but she also learned something from her experiences, which became a source of inspiration for the entire village. She was no longer just a widow, but Krishnapura of North India was famous for its beauty and cultural heritage. Greenery, temple bells and bhajans were the identity of the village. The peepal tree situated in the middle of the village, which was called the Krishna tree, was a symbol of faith and unity. A widow named Sumitra often used to sit under this tree. She was known for her unique beauty and modesty, but her face was filled with unspeakable sadness. After her husband's death, her life had become empty and purposeless. The deep emptiness and silence in her eyes made her pain even deeper. The villagers used to feel sorry for her, but no one could dare to reach her pain. Krishnapura often used to sit under the Krishna tree in search of her sadness and purpose of life. She used to wonder whether the end of her life is only sorrow and loneliness, or is there any light somewhere? Meanwhile, a sadhu named Vibhu Dev arrived in the village. His radiant personality and deep eyes attracted everyone. He spoke less, but his words touched the heart. In his sermons, the sage said that every soul has divinity. Life is not just for material pleasures, but it is an opportunity to connect with God by understanding the purity of the soul. His thoughts brought spiritual awakening in the village. Vibhu Dev's sermons were simple and deep. He used to say that what you are looking for outside is within you. Just look inside yourself. His words were so simple that even the villagers began to understand them. Soon, the villagers were inspired by his sermons and started coming to the temple in large numbers. His presence gave new energy to the people. Vibhu Dev's miraculous acts also became a topic of discussion. Some would get relief from his touch, while others would regain their lost confidence. Sumitra, who was struggling with her emptiness and questions, also went to him. The sage's teachings instilled peace and new hope in her. His words touched her heart deeply. His thoughts had such a depiction of the mysteries of life and the divinity of the soul that a new energy arose within Sumitra. Hope started to rise. One day, when Sumitra mustered up the courage to meet Sadhu Maharaj in person, she went in front of him and shared her worries and sorrows. There were tears in her eyes and pain in her voice. Sadhu Maharaj listened to her carefully and then said in a serious but loving tone that there is an infinite power within you which you have never felt. This power is sleeping within you. You need to look inside yourself and recognize your soul. When you know yourself, then all your questions will end automatically. These words of Sadhu Maharaj left a deep impression on Sumitra. She felt that perhaps her pain and sadness were not the result of external circumstances alone, but of her inability to recognize herself. She thought that if she could go deep into her soul and understand herself, she might find the peace and contentment she was always looking for. Sumitra now began to listen to Sadhu Maharaj's sermons regularly. She began to practice meditation and self-reflection as Vibhu Dev had taught her. Gradually, she began to experience a new energy and peace within herself. She felt that she was moving towards freedom from her pain and emptiness. Perhaps this was the path that her mind and soul had been searching for so long. The conversation between Sumitra and Sadhu Maharaj deepened with time. Sadhu Maharaj's wisdom, his calm personality, and the spiritual message hidden in his words had such an impact on Sumitra's mind that she began to feel incomplete without him. She went to the temple every day to listen to his sermons, and every time she remembered him in her thoughts. One day, when Sumitra talked to Sadhu Maharaj about her feelings and dilemmas of life, he listened to her carefully. His deep eyes seemed to be looking into Sumitra's soul. Sadhu Maharaj said in a calm but impressive voice, "Your beauty is not limited to your face only. Your soul is also equally unique and divine. But unfortunately, you have never recognized it by looking within yourself. You have always tried to find